Greetings, Speed from Metal Wani. Thank you for joining me this evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. So, let's talk about the Night Flight Orchestra a little bit. You guys are getting ready to put out your third record in a couple of weeks, titled Amber Galactic. That's such an interesting title, man. It sounds like the name of a new wave 80s pop star or something. How did you come about with such an interesting title?
Well, it was actually David who came up with it. Then again, the name Amber has been with us for quite some time. We've always been, discussing perfect women's names and classic women's names, and to a point where, even with Soilwork for the Living Infinite, the double album, we recorded 27 songs total, and all of them were named after women. So it's been a thing that me and David has always discussed, and we just wanted Amber to go galactic this time because it has a little bit of a space theme running through the whole album. Yes.
Yeah, that can certainly be heard. There's more of a prog element this time around than on the past two records. Was that something that was intentional?
I don't think so. I mean, a lot of people mention the prog element, but I don't know. Is it that proggy? I mean, there's a lot of smart chord changes and pretty complex stuff, but it's at the same time it's pretty direct to me. But maybe I'm not too. I'm still too close to the recording, and I've heard all those songs so many times. So maybe it's one of those albums that sort of grows on you as well. I don't know if that's the case with you, but I don't really see it as a very much of a prog album in that sense. The music is progressive, I guess, in a sense, but it's also pretty direct, if you ask me.
Yeah, I reviewed it for Metal Wani over the weekend, and I loved it. It has a lot of atmosphere, but it's still a very listenable record with hooks that can be very direct, without a doubt. Has the fan reception...
Okay, yeah, I read the review, actually. That's cool.
Thank you.
Who wrote it.
I really appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Has the fan reception been better than you would have expected?
I think so. I mean, it's like, this is so different from both Soilwork and Arch Enemy, and we're not really sure how people would react, and even the label, the Nuclear Blast, they signed us based on the two first albums, and then we recorded a song like Domino, and we were thinking in the studio, what the hell is Nuclear Blast going to say when they hear this song? But they called back when they received the master and just yelled on the phone like, "Oh my God, Domino! It's the best song on the album." I was like, "What?" I was very surprised, but I'm really happy that people really appreciate it in the same way we do. We're providing something that is missing out there, I think.
I think so too. It's original, yet it has that classic feeling that it could draw in so many different people and so many generations, And for a legend like you to reach more into classic rock instead of death metal, that's really impressive, man.
Thank you. And it's something that I've always liked, but and I've always been curious about, and for years I've been trying to channel all my influences through Soilwork. But now I have the best of both worlds, So I feel complete, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, you've got a project for every mood. It seems like. How would you compare working with Night Flight in comparison to Soilwork, like you said?
It's fairly similar, I guess, in a way, because it's such a big part of me, so it doesn't feel that strange, But then again, we for example, the recording sessions are very different from Soilwork. We spread this out, and we had 3 different recording sessions in 3 different studios. And I would say that the recording sessions are more intense. It's we get together for a week or so, and then it's like non-stop. And yes, there is alcohol involved, and. It's almost like you need to go into rehab after a week with Night Flight Orchestra. So God knows what's going to happen when we take this on the road.
Partying, lots and lots of it.
Yeah, I mean, then again, I can't really do it the same way I used to do it when I'm 25. It would destroy me, but every now and then it's nice.
So this is definitely not a motley crew then, by any means.
No, not really. I mean, it's but then again, you know, it's such a creative unit. So I mean, it's very intense in that sense as well. You know, when we jam around the songs, and then we have two producers in the band, so we can jam and rehearse and then record if we feel like, you know, straight away. So that's very different from Soilwork, and then obviously we recorded a lot of stuff live as well in the studio, which, you know, in sort of like in the heat of the moment, you know, and that's a really cool vibe.
Definitely. Did you have any like role in the songwriting process, or did you strictly write lyrics and vocal melodies?
I've written. I usually write songs for this band as well. You know, I picked up the guitar, you know, both with Soilwork and also this band, and so I write songs and I write some lyrics, and it's sort of the same with David and Sebastian as well. So it's yeah, and anybody is, you know, free to contribute with a song. So we have some amazing songwriters in the band. So it's we do a little bit of everything, all of us, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely hear some diverse influences in there. I wanted to ask you actually about what your vocal influences are for this project in particular. Did you have any other genres in mind that you ever wanted to tackle instead of just death metal, like in Soilwork?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so much, and I think that's one of the things as well. I mentioned before, you know, that you know, I feel complete with having two different bands, and I think for years I had to be Lou Gramm and Tom Araya in the same band, you know, with Soilwork, and now I can be Lou Gramm in Night Flight, and I think he's one of my favorite vocalists. So yes, definitely influenced from that. You know, it's more like the expression and the presence in his voice and the tone. It's you know, people always talk about Steve Perry from Journey, but I always thought that Lou Gramm was the better singer. I mean, don't get me wrong, Steve Perry is fantastic as well, but there's a special tone to Lou Gramm's voice that is so hard to beat, you know. And so I definitely, that had a big impact on me as well. And I mean, there's so many singers, you know.
I believe there's a term for mostly metalcore bands that is referred to as Goodcop Badcop. You're one of the primary singers I think about whenever that term comes up, because you're so good at it.
Goodcop Badcop. I haven't heard that before. That's pretty funny. Yeah.
It's
yeah. I mean, it's the switch has become easier in Soilwork as well, and then doing this, I think I needed to do the journey with Soilwork also, you know, as a vocalist, you know, in order to strengthen my vocal cords and be able to do this as well. I built up a really strong falsetto as well through the years.
Oh yeah, you have. I actually mentioned that in my review. I said, please don't ever stop using falsetto speed.
No, I love using falsetto, so no, I will never stop, and it's only going to get higher, higher, and higher.
That makes my day.
Okay, awesome.
So I was curious about the lyrical process for Night Flight. I noticed a lot of song topics that were pretty deep actually, but they fell in line with other classic rock band topics. Do the lyrics for that project come from the heart, or is it sort of like a Steel Panther thing where you're thinking, well, how can I fit inside this particular stereotype?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mix, but then again, this is, you know, I'm not calling Steel Panther a joke band. They're not. They're fantastic musicians as well. I think, because I mean, I'm sure that comes from the right place as well, because they love to play that kind of music, you know, the way it was meant to be played, I guess. And I think it's, you know, that's sort of the same case with us, but I think we're also telling real life stories, you know, and so it's not like a pastiche, you know, and a lot of those lyrics, I mean, I've experienced, you know, and David has experienced as well. And what's pretty interesting is that David very often writes lyrics about me and what I've experienced and how, and he knows me very well. You know, he knows exactly. He can tell by just, you know, if we meet up, he knows exactly how I'm feeling. You know, so it's a pretty strong bond, and I think that's kind of rare that, you know, a guitarist in the band writes songs, lyrics about the singer, you know, and his life, you know. So there's that, and there's also a lot of stories of mysterious women, and this time around, I think we've been taking it to space as well, and telling stories about relationship dramas in space and female space commanders, and it really, of course, fits the music. Of course, certain pictures come up in your mind when you listen to this band, but there's also real life stories behind.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about Soilwork, and I've noticed across the last two albums specifically, even Death Resonance, the album that has songs that you guys worked on throughout the years but didn't quite make records. I've noticed songs such as This Windswept Mercy from The Living Infinite and Whirl of Pain from The Ride Majestic that focused more on mood and vocals, the singing. Is that a direction that you want to take Soilwork going forward? Do you want to keep having that diversity?
Yeah, I really enjoy that, the diversity and work on dynamics in songs. I mean, I think we've also found a new recipe with Soilwork on how to express ourselves musically. And so, I mean, it's still interesting, and I think we found a new way, and we've been touring so much for both Ride Majestic and Living Infinite, and it's been so much fun performing those songs live. And what makes it fun, I think, as well, that it's me as a vocalist. There's more room and more dynamics for vocals. So that's something that I really enjoy. So I think we'll keep on continue doing that.
Yeah, Soilwork are definitely one of the best examples of balancing melody and aggression. And after all these years, how do you challenge yourself to keep that sound fresh?
I mean, it's always hard. It's hard to not repeat yourself, within the metal genre. But it's I think it's still a very creative unit. And I think one of the reasons why it still feels refreshing is, it might sound weird, but we've had lineup changes, but I think we've been very lucky to have people coming into the band that brought something really interesting, and so lineup changes has been very good for us. And I think Living Infinite and The Ride Majestic are, that's proof right there. It's and I think ever since I started Night Flight Orchestra as well, Soilwork has become more intense and maybe darker, if you will, and I think that's because I have a different outlet as well,
Right, you have an outlet now more for strictly singing, and then you have Soilwork, which could become this more aggressive beast now that distinguishes itself from Night Flight. And with that in mind, is that kind of a clue as to what the next Soilwork record is going to sound like? Hint?
I think so. I mean, I think we will continue on the path that we had with Ride Majestic, I think it has some beautiful dynamics and it's pretty melancholic, and I think that's, sums up my personality, but having Soilwork and the Night Flight is more sort of, it's not strictly like a party band, that would be making it very easy, but it's definitely both sides of me that gets reflected through those bands.
Real quick before we go, I just wanted to bring up Bastian Thusgaard. He's the stand-in for Dirk Van Buren, and he just recently got announced as the new permanent drummer for the band. How do you see him influencing the new Soilwork music, and when can we expect the new Soilwork album to release?
I think he definitely will have an impact. He's a little bit of a different drummer than Dirk, and I think he has some really cool ideas, and I really like his heavy playing as well, so he will definitely have an impact on the sound. And it's hard to say when we're going to enter the studio, maybe sometime in the spring, but we'll see. So we're going to do a little bit of Night Flight, and I think we also need it, me and David, and the other guys maybe want to take a break as well, because it's been very intense touring-wise with the Ride Majestic, and I think we really need to recharge our batteries and then approach it slowly.
Final question. Do you plan on touring off of Night Flight, and will it be a worldwide tour?
Yes, we would love to. We want to take this on the road, absolutely. I think this new album needs to come out because it's the first one on a big label, so I think that will get promoters, picking up on it, and there's definitely a buzz going on right now with this band and this album. So it's going to be very interesting to see where it's going to take us. But yes, that's definitely the plan.
Well, Bjorn, I can't wait to see where it takes you, and thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.